So the guards took Jesus to the house of the former high priest. Peter followed along at a distance and went into the courtyard outside the house and stood next to the fire pit that was there in the middle of the courtyard. One of the servant girls who was nearby asked Peter, "Aren't you one of the followers of Jesus?" He said, No, of course not. Meanwhile, inside the house, the high priest was questioning Jesus about his teaching. Jesus looked at him and he said, "I taught in public. I didn't hide anything. Why don't you ask those who listen to my teaching?" And one of the guards standing nearby slapped him across the face. He said, "Don't talk to this man of God that way." Jesus looked at him and he said, "Why did you slap someone for telling the truth?" And then they took Jesus out onto a balcony overlooking the courtyard. Peter and all those below could see what was going on. And the high priest again was questioning him, and they even brought forth witnesses to testify against him. But the stories that the witnesses were telling didn't match up. So they brought more witnesses, and still they didn't help the matter. It just made things more confusing. And then the high priest looked at Jesus. He said, "Enough of this. This is ridiculous. Just tell us plainly, are you the Messiah, the Son of God?" And Jesus looked at him and he said, "Yes, I am." And the priest's mouth kind of fell open in surprise, and he tore his clothes. And he said, "We don't need to hear anything else. This man blasphemes against God." And all the people around started chanting, "Kill him!" And they were punching Jesus and spitting on him. And then one of the men that was there looked at Peter and he said, "Hey, you're one of his followers, aren't you?" And Peter said, No, I don't know what you're talking about." A little while later, they were waiting for the morning to come. And someone else that was near Peter once again said, "This man, he was with Jesus in the garden last night. Listen, he even has that Galilean accent. He's one of Jesus' followers." And Peter started cursing and said, "Stop bothering me about this. I don't know that man." No sooner had he said that than the rooster crowed. And Peter looked up, and Jesus was looking right at him. And this conversation came flashing back into Peter's mind, where Jesus told him that before the rooster crowed in the morning, he would deny him 3 times. And Peter left and went out and wept bitterly. Well, morning came finally, and they called together all the religious leaders, and they had an official trial where they condemned Jesus to death. And they took him to go see the Romans so they could perform the execution. Well, when Judas saw that was happening and what was going on, he took the bag of silver that they had paid him and went back to the religious leaders, and he said, "I've sinned. I've betrayed an innocent man." And they said, "That's not our problem. You deal with that." Judas threw the bag of silver at their feet and went out, found a tree, and hung himself.